How much automation have you set up? Are you using the capacity or the power that this tool brings to you, or do you just have a CRM? Because if you just have something, it's a Ferrari in the garage with no keys and no gas. It's like, okay, great. You've got a Ferrari, but you can't drive it. You don't get the positive vibes of driving it down the street because it just sits there because you don't have any of the other tools or you don't know how to actually drive the vehicle.
Welcome to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast with your hosts, Charlie Cameron and Alex Schlow. This is your go-to show for cutting-edge insights from industry leaders in residential assisted living.
Whether you're ready to launch your own assisted living business or looking to invest in this fast-growing, high-impact sector, we are here to equip you with the tools, strategies, and confidence you need to succeed. Get ready to ride the silver tsunami and change the future of senior care. Now on to today's show.
Welcome back to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast. I'm your host, Charlie Cameron, and today's episode is one you're definitely going to want to replay and take some notes. We're talking all about how to fill your residential assisted living home with high quality residents and quickly. So our guest, Scott Wells, who I've known for quite a while now, is the CEO of Conversion Formula and has helped over 300 senior living communities grow their occupancy through cutting edge digital marketing. Welcome, Scott.
Welcome, Charlie. Good to be with you here, man.
Glad to have you, man. So tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into marketing, and then how that transitioned into really a focus on senior living.
Yeah, man, my first career was recruiting, headhunting, and I started my own business in 2008 or 2009. And I was just recruiting like crazy. And I wanted to figure out a better way to find leads versus cold calling and trying to hustle. And so I started digging into digital marketing and I was like, wait a minute, I like this. I like this a lot better. I love the psychology of it. I love to really trying to understand what people were looking for online and how to ultimately get in front of them and then help move people through the process. And I loved the tactical side of it, but I also loved the psychology of it, of just understanding, hey, what conversations are people having in their head? And how do I put value in front of that to then help guide them through a process? And then I started my digital marketing agency in 2011, 2012, got into senior living right at that time. We created a care assessment, but it wasn't our main focus. We were basically, hey, we'll do anything. We'll do everything. You need a project. Yes, I'll build that. I'll figure it out how to do it. And then around 2016, my grandfather started going through the senior living process, the transition journey, probably right around 2010. And he went in and out to homes, to big communities, and then ultimately passed away in 2016. And I just saw, I'm a conscious capitalist. I'm not trying to pretend this is all out of the goodness of my heart, but I saw a major opportunity and I also saw a major need. There's some amazing communities out there, and there are some absolutely horrendous, terrible communities that frankly need to be put in jail for some of the things that they do. I don't know how often that happens nowadays because I don't work with those people, but I just saw a major need. And so in 2016, we got specifically into senior living, mainly independent living, assisted living, memory care. We've done some things with home care, home health, with SNFs, but the 98% of our business is in that IL, AL, memory care. And then I started getting into residential assisted living in around 2019. I went and presented at, blanking on what they're called right now. It's pretty much how most people get into this space because of their advertising is great. Went and it's RAL National Conference. I went and presented there a bunch of times and got into residential assisted living 3-4 months before COVID hit, which turned out to be a good business decision because when COVID hit, all the big communities said, that's it. Contracts are out. Everything goes to PPE supplies. No more marketing, period. We're not marketing at all. We don't need new leads. We can't bring in new residents. And so that really started my journey in the residential assisted living space where we just started creating different things because the needs were different. It was the same process really where, listen, you have to have a good website. You need traffic. You need to move people through. You need to get tours. You need to get move-ins. But the process was different because the residential assisted living side of things, they didn't have some of the things that the bigger communities had. They didn't have salespeople. They didn't have CRMs. They didn't have a lot of the infrastructure to be able to handle website traffic, phone calls, leads. And so that's ultimately how we created our system for residential assisted living, was out of need and necessity. We generate leads and no one would follow up with them. So then we needed a CRM and sales and marketing automation. We'd get phone calls, but no one would answer the phone. So we started a call center. And so we just started creating all these things because we'd create a new problem with more traffic, with more leads. And then, okay, let's go solve that next problem. And so it's been a beautiful journey. It hasn't been easy. Let's put it that way. I've seen, through my experience in residential assisted living, I've seen a lot of people come and go. And I think a lot of that is because of the mindset that people roll into this industry, as they roll into it as an investment or a real estate play, when that's one way to look at it. But man, this is a service care-based business. It's a people business. It's hospitality. And if you're not prepared for that component of this, RAL space is going to be a rocky road at best and a bad investment at worst. And yeah, it's been a fun journey through senior living. I've learned a tremendous amount, and we continue to keep innovating, just trying to solve new problems that come up.
Yeah. And you said that you've got over 300 communities now as part of Conversion Formula. Is that right?
I don't know our exact number. We probably work with just under 100 RAL communities in some capacity. Some of them we do a lot for, and some of them just have pieces of our software.
Okay.
And then we have probably about 100 and 120 large communities right now that we work with.
Okay. All right. So you see this way more than I do. We've talked to homeowners, like residential assisted living homeowners and stuff we've been interested in purchasing from and things like that, where they don't have a website. They don't have a Google My Business presence. They're wondering why they're not full. What's up with that? Help me understand why so many homes don't even have an online presence.
I think it gets to the root of when people get into this space. So originally who was in this space were caregivers who had a specialty of just caring for people, and they got people through referral agencies, or they'd go to hospital administrators or case managers, and they'd get leads that way, and things were fine for them. And if you have that established foundation, you can survive like that. Can you grow like that? Probably not. That's why most of them sit at one house with 6 beds, and that's a wrap for them. But most of the investors who come into this space come in with a different mindset. They come in with the mindset, because they were taught, trained, and educated, hey, this is mailbox, $10,000 mailbox money. You're going to get 10 homes. You're going to have $100,000 a month in mailbox money, and everything's going to be just easy peasy. So they've been taught, trained, and educated that this is all you need to do. And the reality is much different than that sales pitch that many people have received. And that's why when I talk to, 50 RAL homeowners a month, and I might do business with 4 or 5 of them, because their mindset of entering into this space is, I'm interested in this, but I'm not committed to doing what it takes to doing this. And listen, in today's day and age, if you do not have a website, if you do not get traffic, if you do not believe that leads are the lifeblood of any business, any business, this is not isolated to residential assisted living or senior living in general. This is any business. If you're going to go into this with a mindset where we're going to create relationships and I'm going to rely on someone else to build my business, I have seen 1 or 2 unicorns who have done well with that, but it's just entering into this space, in my very professional and humble opinion, but with a extremely flawed mindset and a bad foundation. And if you're not treating marketing as one of your pillars of your business, that, hey, we have to solve this problem. You have to solve the care problem. You have to solve the real estate problem. You have to solve a couple other problems. But marketing is one of those problems that you have to solve, or challenges, whichever way you want to look at it. But so many people enter into this space thinking that marketing is just, if you build it, they will come. We're going to get referrals. It's going to be great. Everything's going to be easy. And that goes back to what I said, being taught, trained, and educated, that, hey, that's how easy this business is. And then I've also seen a lot of people try and manage it from Florida, and their home is in Arizona, and they're just sitting on the beach somewhere, and they're like, what's going on? Why am my house not full? It's got to get your hands dirty in this thing, man. Got to get your hands dirty, or hire a really amazing executive director or house manager or whatever. But it's the mindset, Charlie. It is. It's the mindset of entering into this with a marketing mindset, with a business mindset, not just I'm an investor. I'm a service care based business. And that's the number one thing.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily purposeful in many cases. It's like you said, it's caregivers or it's healthcare workers or real estate investors. Even real estate investors generally don't know much about lead generation. They think that a real estate agent bringing them houses is lead generation, and it's not, right? The real estate agent had to do the lead generation. So I think that a lot of times it's not like malicious. They just don't even know that, hey, I need to actually be doing this. And I learned that as I was trying to get out of the military. I got my real estate license. I started selling houses on the side. I got my real estate license. I was all fat, dumb, and happy. This was like 2019. And I joined a brokerage and I was like, all right, cool. Where's my leads? Where's my clients? That's not how it works. That's not what the brokerage does. No, Charlie, you have to go out there and do it yourself, you idiot. And I learned the hard way. I tried the things that early marketing and cold calling, things like that. And I was like, oh, if I can't figure out how to cold call, I'm never going to be successful in this business. Then I learned lead attraction, right? Which I know is something you understand intimately, like SEO and YouTube and things like that to bring leads in. And then I started coaching other real estate agents along the way. I had a team of over 100 agents at one point. And the first thing I'd sit them down and tell them is, what's the most important thing? You as a real estate agent, what's the most important thing that you need to be doing with your time? And they're like, oh, transactions. Oh, showing houses. Oh, they're like, no, getting the next client. And so in this business, that it couldn't be further from the truth. And I love what you said. Every business requires lead generation. And so hopefully the folks listening to this, okay, wait a minute, take a step back. One of the most important things, perhaps the most important thing you do for your business is generate leads. And we can't exactly say that in senior care, because caring is, of course, the most important piece. I think staffing is probably debatably your second hardest thing, but marketing is right up there with it. So the two things you got to figure out is staffing and marketing.
Yeah. And I don't think it's malicious at all. I think it's ignorance. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Ignorance is just not knowing. That's it. It's not being stupid. It's just they haven't been taught, trained, and educated that this is a vital component of the business. And when you think about it, a lot of the residential assisted living communities are getting residents that are high acuity. And so if they're high acuity, you're going to have a natural turnover there. And so again, that lead flow becomes vital to the success or failure of your business and investment. And so that's really been the biggest challenge for us. It's not like that with big communities. Big communities, they know they need to market. And that's what a lot of people want to know, what the differences are. It's like the smaller communities, the RAL communities, they just don't have that dedication to say, we know we need to market. We need to get in front of people. We know people are looking for this on Google. The data it's incontroversial. There's no controversy there. That's where people are going. Now that may change over time with AI and people going more to ChatGPT or things like that. But for now, this demographic is still going to Google. People are typing in search terms. They do not know which community they want to tour or potentially move into. They're undecided. So how do you get in front of them to help make their decision a little bit easier in your favor? And it comes down to a interested versus committed. You have to be committed to that type of marketing. Or the other type of marketing is, man, you're beating the street and you are trying to meet everybody, and you better be really gifted at that to be able to win those people over, because they have entrenched relationships. The case managers, they get the doors beaten down of people trying to get leads. Or you settle for a place for mom or caring.com, which from a business model perspective, the numbers don't work out. When you pay 110% of the first month's rent and that person only stays for 6 to 8 months, you are probably not doing very well.
Yeah.
And it's it makes the business that much harder when it's already, with that care component, with that staffing component, it's already challenging. So you're making it exponentially more challenging by not committing to just a mindset of, we're going to generate the lifeblood of our business. We're going to generate leads.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to bring it up, that a place for mom or any other placement agents, that's extremely expensive. That's a huge detriment to your business. Now, 1 or 2 a year in a 10-bed home, okay, fine. It'll help in a pinch. That's okay, as long as they're a good match for your home. but that's not a marketing plan. That's not a lead generation strategy. And it's going to be prohibitively expensive and make your home probably hard to cash flow. And the thing about that, and people sometimes get upset when I talk about cash flow and making money, taking care of seniors, but guess what? You can't provide good care if you're a negative cash flowing business. Okay. So the two go hand in hand. You have to have both. You have to have one to have the other. Good care will create good income. Good income will create good care and vice versa. Anyway, so one thing I wanted to mention is when I was getting into marketing for being a real estate agent, I realized very quickly that there were lots of things I didn't know and I didn't have time to go learn, or when I did do them, I did them really crappy. Here's an example. I started doing YouTube videos and I was using all those optimization tools and whatever. I was doing it all myself. And this dude from Sri Lanka just cold emailed me and was like, hey, I can optimize your videos for you. It'll be like $250 a month. And I was like, $250 a month? That's ridiculous. And I was like, my source can have. I'm going to try it for a month. My videos went from 200 views to 2,000 views overnight. Yeah. And that was like the first big aha moment of, wait a minute. Not only should I not be doing these things I know nothing about, but paying someone else to do it so that I can focus on the things I'm good at is the best way to grow my business. Who, not how.
Yeah. Yeah. And who, not the how. Find your dream team.
Yeah. And Scott, you've been doing this for how many years now?
13, 14 years, something.
Okay. 13, 14 years of digital marketing experience with a focus on assisted living homes. If you think you could do it better than Scott for less money, I'm just saying, I'm being honest here, then
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Same thing. We started running meta ads. I don't know anything about meta ads. So we hired a company to do it for us. And that's paid off because it's something I didn't want to learn. I don't know how to do. And they're experts.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you brought it up. The who, not the how.
Yes.
If you follow Russell Brunson's marketing, you got to find your dream team. It's okay. If you buy a home on the real estate side, you're renovating homes. Do you go out there and swing the hammer? Or do you get a general contractor who's going to get an electrician, going to get someone to hang the drywall, going to get someone to do all the things? Do you find an architect of someone who knows how to structure the way the home should flow for the care, for the residents, or do you go do all those things yourself and just learn as you go? What's the fastest way to success? What is your extreme skill set inside of this plan? Focus on that, because listen, if SEO, paid media, if they were all extremely easy, then everyone could do it and it wouldn't make any sense to have marketing agencies. Yeah. Some of the things that we've created, they're not like some revolutionary technology, but we're leveraging all of our experience with all of the communities, all of the phone calls that we've ever received, all of the email messages that we've ever sent. So we take an existing platform and just build on top of it and make it outstanding. Now, I'll give you a CRM example. A lot of people are like, I got a CRM. Okay. What are you doing with it? How much automation have you set up? Are you using the capacity or the power that this tool brings to you? Or do you just have a CRM? Because if you just have something, it's a Ferrari in the garage with no keys and no gas. It's okay, great. You've got a Ferrari, but you can't drive it. You don't get the positive vibes of driving it down the street because it just sits there because you don't have any of the other tools or you don't know how to actually drive the vehicle. And it's tough. Again, back to Talk, Trained, and Educated. People are like, you shouldn't have to spend money on marketing. Just go do it yourself. Okay, but that's just a challenging thing to do because marketing is extremely competitive. Especially, it's just getting more and more competitive now. So it's like showing up high in search rankings is not very easy. Not spending a crap ton of money on paid media. If you start spending money on paid media, okay, how many leads and how many tours and how many move-ins are you getting? Not just, I set up a paid media account. I'm spending $1,000 on Google and we're getting some phone calls. Okay. How many move-ins have you got? None. But we're getting phone calls. It's okay, are they the right phone calls? Are those truly potential residents for you, or are you just getting phone calls? And so it's a lot of different factors there, but it's the who, not the how. Otherwise it's going to take you forever to get everything done. And it is an investment in the beginning. It is. You have to have some faith and trust that the investment's going to pay off, but ultimately that's the path to success.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways to generate leads. And what I've found is there's basically the spectrum of free, but lots of time, to paid and a lot less time.
Yep.
And I'm sure you leverage all of those types of techniques, Scott, but can you go into detail into how conversion formula works to generate leads for assisted living homes, and where do the best leads come from?
Yeah. Absolutely. First phase is you have to have a good website. You brought it up earlier. There's so many communities who don't even have a website, period, which that's just a bad decision. But the other side of that bad decision is if you have a website that looks really crappy or doesn't function properly, because one, Google's going to look at the code behind it and see how fast it moves and all that other stuff and decide whether they're going to show you up in search rankings anyways. Or two, you just have it up as a place for people to go. But we call it your digital curb appeal. It's like if your house is completely unkempt and just looks like trash, how many people actually want to go in there? And that's ultimately what a website is. And people are judging your website. They're judging your home on your website. Without a doubt, it's maybe conscious or even unconscious, but people are judging that website. And so it's about the aesthetics of the website, but it's also about the code behind the website to make sure that you have the possibility to now generate traffic. So once you get that piece of it done, then it comes to traffic. Okay, now you've got the foundation of the website. Now, how do you get people actually to your website? And we do it through 3 different ways. One is search engine optimization, which is not sexy, but extremely effective.
Yep.
I won't get into the nuts and bolts of search engine optimization or all the listeners will nod off to sleep, but it's extremely effective. It takes a little more time, but it's extremely effective to generate phone calls and to generate highly qualified, interested people over time. And it does take 3 to 6 months, depending on how competitive your area is. Paid media is another one that we do a heavy amount in, and Google and Facebook, the 2 platforms, right? The Google network, so YouTube, Google, Meta platform with Insta and Facebook. Google's always going to be the best right now. If you think about how Google gets their clicks and their leads, someone types specific phrases into the search box, right? Whereas Facebook, you're trying to somehow interrupt their scroll. And you still can get leads from both platforms. Google's going to be a little more expensive in terms of your cost per lead. Facebook's going to be less, but the quality tends to be a little bit higher on Google. Again, it's a little more expensive, but it produces a lot of tours, a lot of move-ins. And so that investment, you were talking about using a place for mom. Let's say you charge $5,000 a month for your home. You spend $1,500 on marketing or $2,000 on marketing, and you end up getting over 3 months, one resident, 5,000, another resident, 10,000, 50. So now you spent $15,000 to get 3 residents. Whereas with marketing, you could spend $1,500, $2,000 a month. Let's say you spent $2,000 even. Let's say, so that's $6,000. You could have 20, 30 leads in that time frame, qualified leads. I don't mean just number of leads. You could have 20 to 30 where how many move-ins can you get from that? Now it's up to your back end and how do you do tours and how do you close? But that method, if you think about it from that perspective, it's a much better investment. Not to mention the people on a place for mom are typically shorter average length of stays. They're usually higher acuity, not going to stay a long time. And that's bad investment right there. And then content creation. Content creation is huge. If you're not pushing out content, and I don't mean, hey, our community, not just sitting there beating your chest about how cool your community is. It's about what are people looking for? What challenges are they having? What's the difference between big and small? What are the things that really bring the attributes of the value that you bring to the marketplace? And talk to your dream resident, your target market. And if you can talk to them properly and answer the questions in their head that they're typing into the search engines, now you start showing up for all different types of searches. And that's ultimately how you start moving people through the process. And then website, you got traffic. Now you need to have a conversion process, right? How many times do you go to a website and you don't put in any information? You're just in your research phase. You're just trying to figure this out. So who provides value in that process is who wins the game. If you're just asking people to sign up for a tour or sign up for a newsletter, you're missing the boat. Yes, some people are going to sign up for a tour right away. Maybe, they're a referral from someone else, but we're talking about people who have no idea who you are. No clue the process that they're going through. Most people going through this have never done it before. So it's all new for them. So how do you move them through the process? And we do that through conversion tools, AI call agents, sales and marketing automation with text and emails to help move people through the process to say, okay, you're interested, raise your hand. They raise their hand, they get more emails, more text messages, gently encouraging them to schedule a tour. But that process can seem like nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, thanks for all the messages. Thanks for the way you marketed. I'd like to come in the tour for tomorrow.
Sorry to interrupt this episode, but let's be honest. Most real estate investing right now, it's either buy a fourplex or try Airbnb and hope for the best.
Yeah, we're not here for that.
We're here to show you what we believe is the most overlooked high cash flow real estate strategy in the game right now. You guessed it, residential assisted living. It's literally the one place in real estate where you can net 6 figures on a single home and feel like a decent human being at the same time. You're helping sweet old ladies eat pancakes and play bingo and live longer through better care. You tell me what's better than that.
So we're hosting a free live webinar called How You Can Create Financial Freedom with Residential Assisted Living. No fluff, just value. And it's happening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 Mountain Time. No excuses. It's online. Put on sweatpants. We won't judge.
We'll break down why residential assisted living is the best opportunity right now, the 5 steps to take down your first home, and how to set up a business that makes a real impact and real money.
Spots are limited, so don't be that person who DMs us in 3 months saying, wait, is it too late to start?
So hit up theralroom.com/webinar and register now.
Be the hero your grandma already thinks that you are.
We'll see you there. Pancakes not included. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Man, there's a lot to talk about from what you just said. That was a great overview. I love what you said about ROI. Like the ROI on a placement agency is terrible versus the ROI on doing marketing. And now you've got all these leads, and it's so funny to me. You talked about the CRM, and we'll talk a little bit more about follow-up and actually doing that piece of it. One of the funniest things to me about new real estate agents was that they would always be posting about what's the best CRM. And the answer is the one you'll actually use. It could be a Google Sheet. It doesn't matter as long as you actually follow up with the leads, which none of them are willing to do. Like 90% of real estate agents aren't willing to do lead gen, and they fail. Yeah. And that's why there's so many failure real estate agents out there, is they just don't want to do the lead gen part. So what does your team do to ensure that lead, like the follow-up happens for these leads? And what is the average timeline from lead to tour or lead to move in?
Yeah. CRMs are shiny objects, right? All of them basically do the same thing. It's what do you direct it to do? And so if you truly understand your target market, you truly understand the process you want leads to go through, then you go set it up. And what we found was like, it didn't matter if we provided a CRM. No one's going to use it. No one's going to log into it. So we essentially set up everything for our clients. Like we set up every automation, every email, every text message, no matter where they come in the marketing funnels. And we probably have, 7 entry points that people come into: tour scheduling, floor plans and pricing, a care assessment, a cost comparison tool, and a chat widget that is an AI-based chat widget. So it's like we set up all those funnels, and we basically set up all of the automation inside of our system Radiance to make sure that it just moves people through the process systematically. And all they have to do is drag and drop someone from one sales stage to the next. If they come in for a tour or they signed up for a tour, our system will do it if it's through our system. But if it's manual, then they have to do that. If they move in, then we set up review automation and all different types of automation so that you don't have to do any of that. Like, because no one will do it. I don't care if you have the best intentions of the world. You just simply won't do it. I myself bought Infusionsoft in 2010 and didn't do anything with it for 3 years. I just paid for it. That's just the way it goes with CRMs. It's complicated. So we just set all that stuff up for our clients and make sure that all of that communication strategy is being done. Because you asked about the average sales cycle. Well, Align is a big CRM, speaking of CRMs, and Welcome Home, they come out with benchmark reports every year. And the average sales cycle for assisted living, let's stick with that one, is around 180 days. So inquiry to tour, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was around 45 days. Tour, and then tour to moving in was another 120 days. And so something like that. I can't remember the specific numbers, but it's 180 days. So that's 6 months.
Yeah.
And obviously there's people who move in right away. And there's also people who move in after a year. That's the average. But if you're generating a healthy amount of leads, who's managing those leads? How are they going to consistently touch those people? Because one of the data points is it takes 25 touches to convert a senior living customer.
Wow.
So that's 25 combination of emails, text messages, and phone calls and tour. So it's like, how do you get someone to tour, provide value, communicate with them? If they don't respond, that's okay. communicate through email and text message until they drop you off their list or have themselves removed, then you already have permission because you've provided value to them if you're doing things properly. And so many people literally say thank you for the way you marketed to us because it's just touch points, provide value. And it's not just about the community. It's about what pain do they have as they're going through their process. And if you fully understand your target market and you fully understand the process that they're going through, then you can create that type of system that communicates with people and says, hey, let me guide you through this path. And guess what? When you're ready for tour, we're here. And you're not impatient. You're not in panic mode. You can navigate that process and have it play out the way it's supposed to, instead of come in for a tour now, or I'm not going to talk to you ever again because you're dead lead. We'd have people all the time that are like, we called them once and we're not calling them again because they're used to working a place for mom leads. They're used to working leads where they get bombarded with 20 phone calls. And they're like, if I don't get a hold of them in the first hour, it's done. And I'm like, that blows my mind. It's like, these people this is a huge decision. They may be selling the home, leaving their home for 50 years. That happens all the time, right? They may not even want to come into your community, but the adult daughter or adult son is trying to guide them through this process. So how do you provide value to help everyone make that decision that, hey, maybe it's the right time now?
Yeah, I want to double tap something you said for our listeners. Value marketing. It's different. What you're doing is you're giving people information that's helpful to them in their current situation, right? The way I started getting leads as a real estate agent was I built a Facebook community around military moving to the community, moving to the area. And I provided information and guides. Oh, here's a 20-page guide I put together on where to stay, what to do, where to wear your car, where to do all these crazy military things that nobody knows what about, and just gave value, gave. Yeah. That's how I got all these leads. Same thing with my YouTube channel. It was just informational, and then people would reach out. And so I think it's such a good thing to have. And like you said, 6 months is a long time. If you're only willing to, let's say you do some marketing yourself and you get a phone call and that's the one phone call you take, you never follow up. That's a problem because it, like you said, 25 touches, that's 25 texts or calls or emails that need to happen before a lead converts. And so that's not something that can be done easily as a human without software, without real marketing involved. And it's really good to have those numbers. I'm glad you stated those.
Yeah. And I don't want to lose the component of human connection in this either. This is a human-based business, but at the same time, why not leverage technology to do those heavy lifting components where now you can talk to people who are truly interested in what you provide in terms of your product, in terms of finances. They're truly interested. So you're not just chasing leads all the time of people who aren't a good financial fit. They're not a good care fit, because that's going to happen when you start marketing. You're going to get people who just aren't a good fit. And one of the big mistakes I've seen people make inside of RAL is I'll take anyone who has a problem and has money. And that's one way to do it. But think about the culture inside of your home that you're trying to create. Is everyone a perfect fit? No, they're not. You don't want behavior problems when you have a 6-bedroom or even a 10-bedroom or even a 14-bedroom home. You don't want to deal with family members who are just a huge time suck and a pain in the ass. You don't want to do that. So you want to have the ability to choose who belongs in your community versus just, hey, they got money and they've got a care need, so let's take them.
Yeah. So let's say that someone opens a home, they use conversion formula, and it goes all the way through the CRM and the call center, and they're ready to schedule a tour. How do you do the handoff, and what's important for the operator, the homeowner, to get that piece of it right?
Yeah, they have to be engaged, right? They have to be engaged in the process. So when a lead comes through, it's not like we keep that lead. Everyone's like I said, we don't want to diminish the human connection component here. So it works in a parallel track. When you get a lead from us, if they schedule a tour, get on the phone and start putting a voice to the community right away. If you get a lead, just a normal lead, get on the phone and call them right away. It's still, they may not answer, but it's just leaving a pleasant voicemail to let them know, hey, I hear you, I see you. And if you're not ready to talk, that's okay. We've got marketing that's running on a parallel track to continue that communication process. But that human connection component of this is so vital to the success or failure of the business and the investment that there shouldn't be much handoff. It's literally, hey, we get a lead, you're getting sent that lead right away. You're getting all the information that's being sent. You need to get on the phone with them right away. If they don't answer, call them in a week, call them in 2 weeks, call them in 3 weeks. And that's why we're creating an AI call agent that actually calls people, because most people won't make those phone calls. But the human connection, even with AI, you still need that human connection. You still need that pleasant voice that understands with empathy the challenges that they're going through. And if you can do that properly with the communication strategy, now there's no real, it's a seamless transition. They schedule a tour, you're getting on the phone with them, you're confirming, you're making sure they're comfortable, you're making sure they understand what to expect, because you're also ultimately should be qualifying them a little bit too. You don't want to waste your time. You want to make sure that this person is interested in a good fit. The conversion tools and the communication can do some of that, but it can't do all of it. It can't do a full assessment of someone, and we just can't do that. We can't make hey, you're definitively this. And it's no, we can say generically, yeah, you should be assisted living based on the way you answered some questions. But that human connection component should be going on in a parallel track so that it is completely seamless as the lead flow and that consumer journey is happening.
Got it. Let's say someone has a 10-bed home.
Yep.
What's a reasonable amount for them to expect to budget for marketing and lead generation? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say anywhere from probably $1,500 to $2,500 a month. If you're going to spend money on Google Ads, you need to spend probably $1,000 a month to make sure that you have enough. Now, can you get by on less than that? Of course you can. If you're just starting off and you've got 10 beds to fill, yeah, I would suggest getting a little more aggressive with your budget. Once you're at stabilized capacity and occupancy rates, then you can drop that down. And a lot of people, what they do is they do paid media up front and they spend higher budgets, and then they completely lose paid media because they can just rely on their search engine optimization, their rankings, the phone calls, etc.
That's awesome.
And they can generate enough leads just through that. So then you're spending less than $1,000 a month to make sure your home stays full. But in the beginning, if you're you need to get lots of tours. You're 2 months from opening, 2 to 3 months from opening, 6 month sales cycle. So you're opening in 6 months. It's time to get on your bike and get moving through that process.
That was going to be my very next question. Selfishly, we are under contract to develop, as well as we have a lot of folks in the mastermind who are renovating homes to open or are purchasing and will be opening that don't have an existing set of staff and residents. Is 6 months out when they should start working with you and start marketing? And what is that ad ramp up? What should that look like in that time span?
Yeah, that's usually if you're starting completely from scratch, you're going to open your doors. You've got a firm open date. 6 months, you don't usually need that much. Obviously, it depends on how big the home is, how many rooms you have, what's your capacity, etc. But it's time to start building your website 6 months out, because that can take quickly. It can do a month, but usually with edits and revisions and stuff, it's 2 months out. You want that as people start seeing it coming up, they want to be able to go to see a website, right? Probably within 3 months of you opening your doors is when you want to start your marketing. Now, 6 months is the normal sales cycle, but you don't want to get a big waiting list either, because waiting lists are extremely fickle. They're a mirage inside of this industry. It's like, how long are people truly going to wait? If you get people early enough in the research phase, then they don't have to make a decision. Obviously, higher acuity, if you're in memory care or just extremely high acuity of assisted living, then it can be much shorter because people are making decisions much faster in that stretch. So it just really depends. But anywhere from 2 to 3 months is when I recommend, hey, let's start building, because SEO is going to take 2 to 3 months. If you're starting from scratch, it's going to take at least 2 to 3 months before especially if you're in a competitor. If you're in Dallas or Phoenix or something like that, yeah, 3 months out, you need to start cracking. With paid media, it's a little more immediate, but it still takes time to optimize. So a month and a half out with paid media is when, and ultimately it's like people want to come see a place too. So getting your home in a place where people can come see the vision, at least they can come see some nice things, they can meet some people, and they can start to envision themselves in your home and being taken care of by you and actually moving out of theirs, then that's when you really put your foot to the gas.
That makes a ton of sense. I love all of that. I think it, of course, with SEO, it takes a long time. Part of when I was recruiting agents was all through SEO, almost all exclusively blog posts for a long time. And that takes time to rank. But man, if you do it right, holy smokes, you're the only one. Everybody thinks it's hard. It's not hard. It just takes time. You have to follow a very precise formula. And if you do it right, then you get all this organic traffic that's just coming, which is so awesome. But for anyone listening, you need to be thinking ahead. Marketing doesn't need to, you don't want to wait to start marketing when you open your doors, because now you're going to be, you got all these expenses, especially your staff, right? That's your biggest one. You're going to be negative cash flowing. If you were to invest a few $1,000s into ads and get your website set up a couple months ahead of time,
right
now all those leads are coming in. You could fill beds a lot faster and be negative cash flowing for not very long. You got to do the comparison. I guarantee you, if you don't do the marketing and you wait, you're going to lose a lot more money in the first few months than you would if you just invested a few $1,000s into ads up front.
And that's what people need to look at is, what is the cost of an empty room for you every single month? And when you start looking at it like that, investing inside of marketing, it becomes a much smaller number when you start thinking about, I've got 10 beds, my average is $5,000 a month. I'm losing $50,000 a month right now in opportunity cost, and spending another couple $1,000s to start chipping away at that much faster. Because I've talked to a lot of RAL homeowners and they're like, we've been doing this for 10 months and we don't have any residents yet. And it's got it. So either you are generational wealthy or something, or you're probably hitting the bottom of the barrel right now. That's not a good investment for you. And it's tough. Those are challenging conversations, because a lot of people get into this with such full hearts and they've invested a lot of their savings into this, yet they don't have the systems in place to be able to be successful. They think that it's just going to happen for them. And that a lot of time, 99% of the time, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. And if that's you and you're listening and you have a big heart, which you probably do because you're here and you want to open assisted living home, what Scott and I are not telling you, you have to become Google Ads experts or CRM experts. Quite the contrary. You can basically hire that piece of it out, get it off your plate so that you could focus on the great care you want to provide and growing your business through that great care, through great staff, and running a great home. If you don't have any business doing that part of your business, and you know who you are, including me, then you should hire it out, because the ROI on getting that time back and having those beds full is huge for you. It's huge.
Yeah.
Man, Scott, this was awesome. I hope folks love this as much as I did, all about marketing and lead gen. Though I won't say I'm the best at it for sure. But any final words of wisdom for someone struggling to fill their RAL home?
It goes back to the first thing I said, is you've got a decision to make. It's about understanding the type of business that you are entering into. And yes, it's an investment, but this is a service care-based business. And so in order to fulfill your purpose of wanting to provide care, you've got to be found. You've got to market properly. And that's not just me saying that because I run a marketing agency. It's because I've seen it over and over the last 5.5 years of people who really wanted to do this, but failed miserably because they just didn't have the right mindset of approaching this from a business perspective. And marketing has to be one of those components of your business. And so whether it's us or find someone in your general area, like market and be committed, not just interested, to that process. And I guarantee if you do that, you're going to get in front of people. You're going to be able to serve the community. You're going to be able to serve our seniors in the most beautiful way, because that's the residential assisted living side of things. I love it. It's more homey. It's a beautiful path for people to transition versus some people just aren't meant for big communities. They're meant to stay in a home setting. And so that's what you all can provide.
Yeah. And truly, it's a disservice to not put the word out there about your great home, the better care that you can provide to seniors than those big box facilities. So if they're not finding you, but they're finding those big boxes, that's a disservice to the community.
I'd even take it a step further. And one of my mentors, Ryan Dice, said, if you truly have a great product or service, you have a moral obligation to market properly. Yeah. Think about that for a second. Let that sit in there for a second. You have a moral obligation.
I love that. That's a great note to wrap the show up on. So
Thanks, Charlie.
So Scott, for folks who want to learn about conversion formula and see if that's a good fit for them, what's the next step?
Go to theconversionformula.com. All the information's there. You can schedule meetings with me or my team. And listen, best of luck to all of you as you go down this process of, I know a lot of your people are just in the beginning stages. So best of luck to you all. You're providing an amazing service and good luck.
Love that. And as always, if you need help getting connected to Scott, you can always reach out to us, team@theralroom.com, and we'll gladly connect you.
Yeah, I will say this. Please don't go to my Facebook and send me a Facebook message because I'm never on there.
Oh, seriously. Yeah.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
So please, if I ignore that, it's because I'm not on there. I'm not ignoring you. Just go to theconversionformula.com.
There you go.
Find me there. Okay.
I'm with you. Too many Facebook messages, too many notifications these days. So
yeah. Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate you, man.
Scott, thanks for your time, dude.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast. We hope you found today's episode insightful. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a raving 5-star review. And a quick review helps more listeners find the show and more seniors get the exceptional care they deserve.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And just so you know, we have prepared some free resources for you to help you succeed in residential assisted living in addition to this podcast. Head over to theralroom.com, that is theralroom.com, to download our free 10-step guide to launch your first or next residential assisted living home, or our 10 reasons to passively invest in residential assisted living ebooks.
And if you're ready to take the next step and make real moves in the RAL industry, join us in the RAL Room Mastermind. It is an exclusive community where we deep dive into everything you need to launch and grow your own residential assisted living business. You'll get access to recorded courses, live calls with industry experts, a RAL calculator, resources and tools, like-minded entrepreneurs, funding opportunities, and an expert networking community to help you along your journey.
Be sure to join us next time on the RAL Room Podcast as we continue to explore the world of residential assisted living with more great guests. See you then.